From a young age, I was diagnosed bipolar, I was diagnosed ADHD, diagnosed God knows what all the time. And I put myself in those boxes that when I was down or feeling down, I'd say, oh, I'm depressed, I'm having an episode, and then had this whole thing would manifest. Whereas now I just like, in this moment, I feel the sensation of X. I try to remove the I, but like I just say the sensation of sadness. I just stay with it, and then it passes, and then I'm back to normal. And just I wish people would just start thinking that way of don't be in this box. You can put yourself in a moment of feeling something that then passes. It's such a different way of going about things. And on that note, I'm trying to bring in the topic of medication, because that was also tied to my anxiety. So a couple years ago, I was diagnosed panic disorder. I was given benzos, and they'd tell me, hey, take this pill whenever you're anxious. And what ended up happening, of course, was I associated feeling anxious with needing a pill. And then I became resistant to it. I didn't want to feel it. So I was curious to see your perspective on the danger of, benzos and prescribing anxiety medications right away.
So generally speaking, as a psychiatrist, I prescribe medications. I tend not to prescribe benzodiazepines for anxiety, and they're actually not recommended as first-line treatment. Back in the day, in the 50s or whatever, everybody was taking the Rolling Stones. Mother's Little Helper was I think it was Valium, with benzos. So they were the rage, and then people started realizing, wow, these are not actually helpful, and they can be addictive. So feel anxious, take pill. Feel anxious, take pill. Rinse and repeat. Right? Not a good way to live. And basically, it's about numbing ourselves from life. So I recommend, and for the top line treatments, for example, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, about 1 in 5 people benefit from taking medication. So for some people, these can be really helpful. About 20% of folks. We are not great at predicting who those people are going to be. So, if somebody comes to me with severe anxiety and they want to try medication, the risk to benefit ratio, I'll determine, figure out whether it makes sense, and then maybe try medication. Some people can benefit from those types of medications. I would not recommend benzos, but try other things. And I would say everyone can benefit from understanding how their minds work and working with their minds. So this is where we developed this Unwinding Anxiety app to help people. Anybody with a smartphone can use this. And we did a randomized controlled trial where we got a 67% reduction in anxiety. That translated so that that 1 in 5 number is called the number needed to treat. How many people you need to treat before one person benefits? With medications, that's 5.2. That's where that 20% comes in. With the study that we did, that number was 1.6. So, that just highlights how helpful it is for everyone to understand and learn how their minds work so they can learn to work with their minds.
Since prescribing those kinds of medications right away without any investigation as to why that's the case, just investigating how it's a habit or what's causing it is so dangerous, do you have any ideas of how we can, not we, but how the system can change, how you can start implementing maybe in a psychiatrist's handbook saying, hey, try mindfulness? I'm sure you thought about that. What's your opinion on how we can go about creating that change in the system? Because it's so rigid and stuck in this automatic prescription of medication.
Yeah. So there are a number of factors that contribute. And one of them is just habit. People are in the habit of doing things. So we have to be able to step out of our habits. And from a medical standpoint, it's really about finding evidence-based treatments. So we've done, several studies, for example, with our Unwinding Anxiety app, and have found, positive benefits. It takes a long time for a system to change even when there's strong evidence for something that's helpful and has, generally a low side effect profile. So just that inertia, I think on average, it takes about 17 years for a new treatment to kind of filter into the mainstream, reimbursement system. So, just from a logistics standpoint, it takes a long time for things to change. Now, it doesn't have to be the case where individual doctors and therapists and folks that are helping folks who are struggling with anxiety can be looking at the evidence themselves. They can be determining, wow, is this worth trying with my patients or my clients? And then trying, doing the experiments themselves, like seeing, is this going to help my patient? So, for example, I had a primary care physician, internal medicine doc, contact me randomly, who had said, she'd offered one of her patients selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor and our own running anxiety app, and followed up with him 3 weeks later. And he told her, he said, well, I didn't try the medication because I wasn't that excited to go on a medication, but I tried the app and his anxiety had dropped significantly just within 3 weeks. And so she contacted me because she said, wow, I'm prescribing this to my patients all the time because it's as cheap as medication and it's more effective. So, for a lot of folks, something like a digital therapeutic may be a way to go. And I would say in general, we're going to see more digital therapeutics come online as the evidence develops. Yet that can take years to do the clinical studies and to do good clinical studies. So, we've done 3 with our unwinding anxiety app and have had very positive results. And, the hope is that people can start to see as that evidence builds, there are other alternatives out there besides medications. Or I would also say in addition to medications. It's not that, the two can't coexist.
Yeah, that's powerful. I'm very happy to hear you're doing that because, I had tough experiences with it, and it has to change, especially for people who, again, get the prescription so fast and they change their neurochemistry so quickly for no reason really. And we need to start investigating, habits, how you're eating. And I'm not saying it's to shame anyone or anything who takes medication at all. It's just from the heart and the place of love being like, investigate mindfulness, food, all this stuff as you do this stuff, because it's not as simple as just handing someone something and calling it a day. There's still a lot of stuff that has to go into it. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to watch more content, click this video right here. And please don't forget to subscribe right here. Thank you.